brilliant job against Orlando. Mate, controlled, disciplined, and clinically when admitted. Now, one more step to the final. Atlanta might have finished 6, but they're here for a reason. They've got nothing to lose, and Cat makes them dangerous. But we have everything to gain. Stick to our game, keep the intensity high, and let's make sure we're the ones fighting for that MLS Cup. Come on.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 84 of Red Bull KloppBot here on Sean Does FM with the New York Red Bulls. I hope you're doing well and come day. We've got the Eastern Conference Finals here with the New York Red Bulls for the first time. Fingers crossed we can make our way through to the MLS Cup and keep the save alive by getting past Atlanta United, who only finished 6th during the league season of that Eastern Conference. This comes off the back of the semi-final that we did play a couple of days ago against Orlando City. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. To be fair, wasn't the most exciting display that we put on out there, but thankfully a first half penalty Leroy Sané and then backed up with a goal with 15 minutes left did mean that we picked up a 2-0 win. So we made our way through to this Eastern Conference final off the back of picking up the Supporters' Shield during the course of the regular season. There's only been a week off the back of that game, so it does mean in terms of our injury situation going into this game, thankfully Colin Moore has recovered from that virus. He makes his way onto the bench, as does Genesis Antwi from that stub toe that kept him out of that semi-final. Also Facundo Molina, an extra week of training, but unfortunately still only recommended for 45 minutes. So fingers crossed we can make our way through that final and he might be able to step in. Castillo so far only been okay in the playoffs, while Molina has been out. So it'd be quite nice if we're able to make that final and get Molina back into that starting lineup. But he still is on the bench there, our first choice striker, while the Peruvian international and Castillo can do the job up front. To be fair, attribute-wise he should be better. Performance-wise hasn't quite worked out that way in his first season here at the club, but fingers crossed here he can pick up a 10th goal of the season and help us get through to that MLS Cup Final, and for the first time in club history, actually pick up the Eastern Conference. We'll go over here and check out the history of the club. They've won the Western Conference, but never the Eastern Conference, which is a bit interesting. You wouldn't expect that, of course, in real life. They won this last season before getting beaten by the LA Galaxy in the MLS Cup Final, so fingers crossed we can make our way through to the final. But to do that, we need to get past Atlanta United. Now, to be fair, as I said, they only finished 6th during the regular season. So this is a team who are lower than what we took on a couple of days ago in Orlando City. But in terms of the playoffs, they came from behind to beat DC United. So far, there's been a bit of a theme with teams we've taken on here in these playoffs in the Eastern Conference. And then a 2-0 win over our arch enemies, New York City, in the semi-finals. That one away from home. So to be fair, so far, they're quite used to getting the job done away from home here in these playoffs. Their manager, Nick Cushing, the Englishman, likes a 4-2-3-1. Their captain, Jason Knight, a very good Irish midfielder, a DP here in the MLS. A very handy player, definitely someone we need to keep an eye out on, especially as he's also their key player, their vice captain, Berk Lisse, Norwegian left back, comes centre back at 33 years old, quite a tall lad, so I imagine they might use him as a centre back, as these days spent quite a while in the MLS at New York City as well as St. Louis, so no doubt that win over City in that previous round would have meant quite a bit, but is getting on. But as their vice captain, to be fair, Jason Knight does look like a fair bit of an upgrade, but obviously with their form so far in the playoffs, this is a team that we do need to respect. And also, of course, this is the team that we traded MV2 going into this season. There you can see him, he's out there at left wing. So we take on our former first choice left winger here with the Red Bulls last season. We replaced him with Sam Singers Birchamus. Outdid him last season also. He was quite injury prone when he was here. Was MB, but fingers crossed here we can get one over the Serbian left winger. Sam can show him up, and fingers crossed here we can make our way through to a first MLS Cup Final, and fingers crossed wrap up this save nicely by getting past Atlanta in the Eastern Conference Final. And here are the team sheets here for this Eastern Conference Final in 2030 in the MLS. In terms of us, the exact same lineup that we put up yesterday, apart from the fact that Moore and Antwi, they come back onto the bench there at Atlanta. Some good recent form going with that 4-2-3-1 indeed. They've got Vida Savojevic at left wing. Also Todd Cantwell in central attacking midfield. So a couple of interesting players here in this Atlanta team. They're going with a slightly greeny-white uniform. We, of course, at home are in the red. An early highlight here from kickoff, thankfully, when that ball there down our left-hand side tick pitch there just takes some time, going under a bit of pressure, but thankfully a good pass. Now he finds Zanotti in some space here down our right-hand side, picks out Julio Cesar, who picks out Samson. Good short passing, a chance there for William. He was offside and also hit the post, but early stages, we're looking a bit threatening, but it's still 0-0. And just we're about to make our way into the last 5 minutes here of this first half. Finally get another highlight here in the first, and it's a good chance there from a set piece. We go near post from that corner. It just goes wide. William couldn't quite get a touch on that one. In fact, it took one from Atlanta, unfortunately. Nothing doing from the subsequent corner. Castillo, for some reason, doesn't opt to keep that one in, and it's still 0-0, albeit maybe the reason is there's going to be a highlight from that throw. We go back there to tick pitch, and now forward to Sam, picks out William there at the far post, who tries to beat the stretch at his near post. Probably not likely if he's got a name like that. It's a brilliant name for a goalkeeper, but it's still 0-0, but all the chances so far are in our favour. Fingers crossed here can make it 1-0 before half-time. A big one there for Castillo, but stretches out to put that one out for a corner. It's still 0-0. Also the goalkeeper here coming up with a couple of big saves. Now Pirani with a chance from a tight angle from that corner off the back of that, but Stretch again comes out with a big save, and then we go near post. Nothing doing from the subsequent corners. The Stretch so far looking quite hard to beat there in goal. Might have elastic hands or arms the way he's played there late on in that first half. You can see those last couple of highlights that we did have a very high XG, but unfortunately could not put the ball past Stretch. It's still 0-0, no changes needed. We're looking a lot more threatening than Atlanta so far, but unfortunately it's still 0-0 at half-time in this Eastern Conference Final. And about 10 minutes into the second half, you get the first highlight of it. It's a corner again here in our favour. Zenta goes far post, and this time Stretch can't stop that one. Wisdom Army will put that one home to finally take a 1-0 lead here in this Eastern Conference Final. To be fair, based on stats, it's definitely been coming. To be fair, that one actually does hit Stretch, but still makes its way into that bottom right corner. You can see that finally Atlanta did get a shot off to start the second half, but thankfully Emi there finally gets a hero on target, and we make it 1-0 coming up here to the last 25 minutes of this game. Now we sneak towards the last 20, and a couple of yellow cards, one of them to Julio Cesar, will take him off, but I'm pretty sure that means he won't be available for the final with that yellow card he was sitting on before this game. So Sevillano and Antwi, they can come on. Also, let's bring on Facundo Molina for Castillo. Yet again, only going fairly, and of course, the more game time we give Molina, the more chance he's got potentially playing an MLS Cup Final, which could be quite handy. But unfortunately, Stretch pumps that one deep. They do get in behind, but this time Insane comes up there with a good save. And now Leroy Sané drops down to a red hat. So Jimenez can come on for him. Fingers crossed that might stop this corner from getting shown. A good save there from Insane to match what Stretch was doing there in the first half. Down there, same M. Munoz gets his head though on the end of that corner, but thankfully it just goes high and wide, and we hold on to our 1-0 lead, about to make our way last 15 minutes of this game. But also in Atlanta with a couple of set pieces. We sort of hit that one away, but they play it down there to James Flores with a rocket into the top left corner. Nunez there with a wonderful assist. It's 1-1 Atlanta with one of their few attacks of the game, albeit we did see one just before this. So starting to get a bit of momentum going here late on in this game, but Flores hits that one on the volley into the ground. It makes its way to that top left corner. Will demand more. We've definitely been on the front foot for most of this game, but unfortunately they make that chance count, make it 1-1 with our final sub. Will take off Pirani, going a lot worse there than Sam, so Edelman can come on in box-to-box midfield. And just as that sub goes through, there is a highlight. This game at the moment looks like it might be going to penalties or extra time. Still not too sure what happens here in these knockout games of the MLS outside of that first round. But now Zenta will float this far post for William. It comes off the post, but on the rebound, he puts it away for his 20th of the season. Off the back of that, we might just start here, do a little bit of our time-wasting stuff, but thankfully, one of the few DPs we've got left here at the Red Bulls, the only one you guys will have if you take over the save of William, because of course Leroy Sané, he's retiring, and we sold Koulibaly, can put that one away. Nice ball there from Zenta, comes off the post. Stretch actually might go a bit of a touch on that one on the way back out, and thankfully it found its way through to William, who can make it 2-1 with only 10 minutes left. And in fact, there's a highlight right from the restart. Knight there plays that one over to Todd Cantwell. Now Victor in there for Rias, who is on a yellow card. Pretty sure two players with quite similar names there for Atlanta do sit on yellows. They try and play a ball over the top there, but thankfully Tickfitch can deal with the danger, and that's actually quite a nice ball out there to Antwi. Down our right-hand side, some fresh legs, hopefully can make the most of that. Plays it back there to Emmy, and now Antwi is back on the ball. That's a lovely ball there from Edelman for Molina, but unfortunately he drags that one high and wide looking for that top left corner, and we still only have a 1-goal lead late on in this game, and now we're about to make our way for the final 5 minutes, just like we did in the semi-final. Let's lower down our tempo, start time wasting even more, be more disciplined, and also not run out the defence. And let's see what happens here. From the set piece, we've got a corner here, which Edelman does take his time over as we're after, but then those changes go through and that highlight does not get seen. We've got 6 minutes though of added time. Still a fair bit of time left here in this game, but fingers crossed here can hold on to our 1-goal lead. We're keeping the ball, which is what we want here in this situation. Zenta plays that one back there to Tickfitch, who takes his time there to Sevillano and gets it back, and we go all the way back here to Unsane, who picks out Wisdom Army, and now we make our way in there to the Atlanta half Genesis, aren't we? Those fresh legs down our right-hand side. Squeeze that one for Facundo Molina, who comes back into the team and picks up a goal. Fingers crossed he'll be available for the final, which we should be in now, off the back of making it 3-1 with only 4 minutes left. So thankfully, off the back of the Atlanta equaliser with only about 15 or so minutes left to go in this game, we've fought back well there with the goals to William and to Molina, two of our key players so far this season at the Red Bulls, and we'll make our way through to an MLS Cup Final for the first time. The Red Bulls and Save do lift the Eastern Conference trophy. It's a 3-1 win, as I said. Got a little bit dicey there with that goal to Flores with 15 minutes left, but thankfully we bounced back very quickly with that double chance, which William did put away, and then just wrap things up there in injury time. We made it 3-1 through Facundo Molina. Fingers crossed now he'll be fit enough for a full 90 minutes in the MLS Cup. We'll see who that final will be against. We'll just go forward and see if that match took place the same time as this one, but it probably will be the day after, as is usually the case with the Western Conference, and indeed that is what's happening. So we'll come back shortly and see who we've got in that MLS Cup Final off the back of that 3-1 win over Atlanta to go through as the top team in the East. So we left a little bit late there to get the job done, but thankfully make our way through there to an MLS Cup Final this season. A chance to finish off the save with the big trophy here in America, and it comes off the back of picking up the Eastern Conference for the first time in club history. So thankfully we get that added bonus there by making our way through to that MLS Cup Final, and going forward off the back of that, we'll just check out here what happened off the back of yesterday's episode over in the Western Conference, where the semi-finals were won by Portland 3-0 over the LA Galaxy and FC Dallas after extra time, 4-3 over San Jose. So I do think that means if it's all locked up after 90 minutes, it must go to extra time before penalties once you get past the first round, which, to be fair, is a much better system if only that was the case back in the first round. But of course, doesn't matter too much now. We got past New England at the end of last week. The final that did get won by Portland 3-0. And if we go back and have a look at what happened in the Supporters' Shield, the top two teams in the league, they'll take each other on in the MLS Cup Final. The champions of the East versus the champions of the West. The New York Red Bulls versus the Portland Timbers. Of course, their manager got to do the All-Star game this year, while we got it last year. So to be fair, a quite big matchup. We're still, though, yet to lose to a team from the West in the save. So fingers crossed that will continue in the next episode. But we've got the MLS Cup Final coming up in only 6 days' time in game. That will be the last one of the save. Fingers crossed we can end the MLS Cup curse with the Red Bulls and pick it up here in 2030. But that will do it for today's episode. Get past Atlanta there 3-0 in the Eastern Conference Final, and we've got Portland coming up in the MLS Cup. If you enjoyed that one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Also, actually, just quickly, Caesar is actually out for that final, as we suspected. That yellow card does mean he will be suspended. We'll touch on that and we're going into tomorrow's episode, but it does mean Sevillano is probably going to have to start. So an early issue there going to the final, but Sevillano certainly an able backup. Fingers crossed he can help us there pick up the MLS Cup over the Portland Timbers. So until then, the last episode of the series. Thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.